for joining the Small Business Bootcamp. We will get started here momentarily. We are just letting everybody load into the Zoom app. We'll get started here shortly. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining the ACA Small Business Bootcamp and Resource Collective for this Thursday, October 14th. We are excited to have you with us today. We've got a great session in store. As we like to do, first introductions, I'm Robert Theobald, Small Business Ombudsman and Vice President of Small Business Services here at the Commerce Authority. And we like to start by first highlighting all of our community partners. We could not do these boot camps without our community partners, their time, their effort, and their expertise. The Small Business Bootcamp is designed to help small businesses return stronger than ever from the COVID crisis. And as mentioned about our community partners, it is a statewide initiative supported by all those community partners. And those partners do come from all corners of the state. And not only is it a webinar that we do every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 a.m., along with some special sessions sprinkled in there, but it has become a resource collective and a content library. And I want to dive deeper into those two pieces. So make note of that at the bottom of the page is the website. You went to that website to register for today's session, and that's where you'll find all this information as well. So in the middle of the website, you'll find the link to the Resource Collective. And the Resource Collective is a web page we set up that contains additional tools and guides brought to us by our community partners to help support small businesses in their needs. Excuse me. And then the Small Business Content Library. At the bottom of the Bootcamp webpage, you'll find the archive sections, and you can see on the screen in real fine print there, lists the archive, and then week 1, week 2, etc. We are in the late 70s on the numbers of weeks we've been doing the Bootcamp. And throughout that whole time, we've been recording the sessions, and that has created a massive content library. We have all those sessions recorded. Well over 140 sessions are recorded and available to you at no cost whenever you want. You can review those sessions and download the materials that were provided by that presenter, whether it's just a slide deck or sometimes there's some additional documents and forms to help out. But all that is available to you in the archive on the content library for you to review, share with others, etc. It is a great resource that has been created throughout the time of the boot camp. Some other great information that's out there as well is the state's COVID-19 information and resource website. It is arizonatogether.org. You can find all things related to COVID on that page. And then the Arizona Commerce Authority set up the COVID-19 business resource website, azcommerce.com/COVID-19. And on that website, you can find additional business guidance, you can find financial information and other great programs. And under the financial information, anytime one of the local, state, or federal grants or programs is updated, or there's a new one, we include that information on that page. So it's a very important page to keep track of. So with that, we want to look at some of the programs that the Arizona Commerce Authority has available to small businesses. First, we have our small business services. We have our workforce division, and then our Arizona MEP, our Manufacturing Extension Partnership. Those are 3 great programs to help support small businesses throughout the state as they start, develop, and grow. Additionally, for those looking to start a business or grow their business, expand the new product lines, we have our small business checklist. And the checklist program is designed to be an interactive online tool to help entrepreneurs understand the commonly requested licensing, registration, and compliance needs at the local, state, and federal levels. Additionally, there's a lot of other great information available on the checklist. So I encourage everybody to check that out. So with that, we want to touch on some updates. There's a new Maricopa County program out. We have sent out some information on that. We're doing a special session next week, next Wednesday at 9 a.m. to talk about that. It's a program that Maricopa County has launched, so it's not a state program, but Because of the numbers in the county, we want to make sure that the partners that are running that program have the opportunity to share the information. It is being managed by both Prestamos and Local First Arizona. So they'll be on with us next Wednesday to go through that program and how it works. It looks to be a very good program for small businesses. I'm excited about it. And hopefully other counties can follow suit. But again, it is a county program, not a state program. I also want to touch on and remind folks that the PPP Loan Forgiveness, we are doing a boot camp session on forgiveness. So if you are a small business that needs to apply for forgiveness, we have a boot camp session next week, next Tuesday, that will dive into that to help you answer questions you may have. Come on and you can learn about the forgiveness process and help get some of those questions you may have answered. As well, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program expansion is still ongoing. They expanded the program from $500,000 limit to $2 million. So you can apply for an increase if your business needs that. That is a loan. There's no forgiveness on that loan, so be mindful of that, but it does have some favorable interest rates as well. And then the last is the Employee Retention Credit. It is a great program, complicated program, but it can be a great program for your business. So I encourage you to work with your accountant and check out the requirements for that to see if you qualify for any of that funding. We will post the links for that information in the chat. And with that, we'll look at the upcoming sessions. So next week, we have some great sessions. On Tuesday is low budget guerrilla marketing techniques. This is going to be an awesome session. The presenter is a very, very good presenter. So please share that with your friends. If you're looking at ways to market your business and drive in business, we're going into the holiday season. I encourage everybody to check that out. Then on Thursday, the 21st, so you don't have it on here, the 20th is that special session. And then on the 21st, we're doing the PPP Loan Forgiveness session. Then on the following week, we're going to have the 10 legal mistakes for small businesses to avoid. And then business on TikTok, we're looking forward to that as well. TikTok is a newer social media platform that a lot of people are driving great business on. And then to round out, we wrap up the month there, and then we start November, and November's got some great sessions planned. First on Tuesday, November 2nd is how to handle haters. And then on Thursday, November 4th is our 200th boot camp session. We're extremely excited about this program that we have set up for our 200th session. We are working with the SBA and some other organizations as part of the SBA's National Veterans Small Business Week. This is going to be a great session sharing the programs that are available for veterans business owners and for veterans to start businesses. So please join us for that. And then, so with that, we will jump into today's sessions. We've got a new presenter, Madeleine MacRae. We're excited to have her with us. I'm excited about this session. She's got another session coming up as well that is going to be awesome. So let's welcome Madeleine. And Madeleine, I'll turn the time over to you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and thank you for welcoming me into this session today. I'm very excited to be here with you today. Let me just get my slideshow shared and also turn on my camera. So just give me 1 second here. Beautiful. Hey, everybody. Now I see you. I see your names here in our participants tab. Just as a quick reminder, I am here for you. I already know this stuff, so this is all for you today. And all the questions, if you could make sure that you put them in the Q&A box. And then inside the chat, I'm going to be asking you to give me some feedback and thoughts as we go through. So I'll also be interacting with you inside of the chat. I can see both of those right here on my screen. I have a special little spot for them. If I'm looking off to the side, I'm checking on the chat, and I'm checking also on your Q&A. So feel free to just pop a little quick hello in there if you can hear me, and you can use your chat so that I can make sure that we can all interact that way as we chat today. So I want to share my screen here and present to you the slide deck that I have. We're going to be talking about how we can enter your strong. So many of times we really spend time and focus in January about how do we get our year started off right. Sometimes, businesses that are a little bit more forward thinking, maybe you start thinking about this time of year, what you're going to do for next year. Bravo, if you're already forward thinking. But if you're not, and you're still kind of in your daily grind, this is a perfect moment to think about ending the year strong. I cannot tell you how many conversations I've had just in the past, just 3 weeks, about people saying, well, we're going to do that next year. We're going to do that next year. We're going to do that next year. Remember, we've got 2.5 months left of this year. And those months are not throwaway months, right? Our year is only 12 months long. So we still have a pretty significant amount of time left to be able to achieve what it is that we want to achieve in our year. So today, what I'm going to be looking at with you are exactly the tactics to help you do just that, right? You want to make sure that you have intentionality and momentum as you end your year. So many times as we roll into the end of the year, we're tired and we take our foot off that gas pedal. We kind of coast to the end. And I want to encourage you today to consider, do you want to coast to the end? Or maybe not coast to the end. As long as you make a really significant choice and you do it on purpose and you say, look, I've had a long, hard year. I've already hit my goals. I'm already where I want to be. I'd like to take easy street for the rest of the year. Feel free to do it. If that's truly where you feel you need to rest and recuperate, and that's your best and highest use of your time, go ahead and do that. But remember, you don't always know, tomorrow's not promised. You don't know what next year is going to bring. You don't know how things are going to unfold. So being able to leverage momentum, especially if you're on track to hit those goals and you have that, or you've already hit those goals and you have that opportunity, you may want to think about really staying strong until the end of your year. Maybe you take a couple extra weeks off at the end of the year and truly unplug instead of giving that half-mast intention for the rest of this year. So we're going to be talking about starting with the end in mind, a little bit of what I started there, really thinking through what it is that you want, building out your roadmap, mastering out the art of focus, unlearning the myth of the multitask, and then rocking your marketing game. And I'm going to get a little bonus in there, which is don't stop selling, making sure that you really keep that sales momentum, which we're happy to start in January, but so often we start to lag a little bit behind, or we get tired towards the end of the year. So today is just a moment to take a big breath and to decide that what you want for the end of the year. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to stop wishing that our year could end a certain way, or that we could do this, and start taking action towards what we want. And I'm going to walk you through a really super simple process of figuring out what it is that you want. What does that actually look like? And this is a process that I have used with boards. This is a process that I have used with salespeople. This is a process I've used with CEOs. This is a process I've used with small business owners and also with large business owners. This process is strikingly easy and simple, and I want you to let it be easy because it tells you a lot about where that desire is, and it lets you follow through with that desire. So I call it starting with the end in mind. It's a very profound way of being hyper clear about where you're going. So often in my early coaching days, I would ask clients, so what do you want? And they would struggle to articulate what it is that they wanted. But when I said, what don't you want? They said all the things, right? It was easy to say what you don't want, and it's sometimes harder to say what you do want. So I want to take that difficulty off the table and give you this really super simple process. And this is what it looks like. I want you to just close your eyes. Please don't be driving, right? If you're driving, do this later. Close your eyes and imagine yourself at the end of the year having achieved what it is that you want to achieve. Now, we have such a short period of time, right? 2.5 months. So don't go wild here. Don't get crazy. You don't have to achieve all the things. Look at where you really are today, and then project yourself forward in your imagination. No one's there telling you what you've got to do or what you ought to do. I just want you to project yourself forward to a moment at the end of the year, maybe the very last day of the year. You're with someone that you really love, someone who's your cheerleader, someone who believes in you, and you're going to have a toast with them. My preference is, of course, for champagne toast, but if you don't drink, maybe you're doing bubbly water toast or whatever your drink of choice might be. right? So you're going to celebrate what you've done in these last couple of months that lead you to feel successful and happy. What exactly will that toast be to? What makes you feel proud? What makes you feel like, man, I did it? What is that thing? Now, it doesn't have to be something that, moves the earth off of its axis, right? It doesn't need to be something huge in order for it to be meaningful to you. I want you to think about where you are in your business today and think about what would it look like to celebrate success at the end of this year. Now, if you're doing this at the beginning of the year, you have a much longer, time road to be able to get there. We have a short compressed period of time, but too many times at this point of the year, whether you're on track to hit your goals or you're off track to hit your goals, or you've already hit them, people forget to recalibrate. Goals are something that you set, and you are allowed to recalibrate your goals so that you can really be truthful about where you are and give yourself an incentive, a reason of that reaching out for what you want, your new adjusted goals for the end of this year. Maybe, I'm actually curious to know this. In the chat box, if you've already hit your goals or you're super on track to hit your goals, say me or yes or I am or something inside the chat so I can see you here. And that way I can kind of get a feel for where I should take this, because we're here live in the moment. You all on the line with us have invested your time to be here live. So I'm going to tailor make this just for you. So why don't you go ahead and type into the chat, yes, me, if you're way on track, or if you're off track, you can say, hey, I'm kind of off track. So that way I will adjust so I can give a specific advice to help you navigate this step. Okay. So you've closed your eyes, you've projected yourself forward to the end of the year, and you're writing a toast. It doesn't need to be fancy. You're not trying to wow anybody, but what are the things that you're toasting to? And when you get really real with yourself and you put those things that you're actually toasting to in your toast, what is going to make you feel successful between now and then, right? If you're off track to hit your goals, I see a couple of you are. Thank you for being truthful about that. Remember that you don't need to just continue to beat yourself up because you're off track. Recalibrate your goals. Look at where you are today and imagine today what would make you feel successful to the end of the year. Maybe it's not what you thought in January, right? Maybe things have happened in your business, or you've had trouble with employees. Who hasn't, right? Or you've had difficulty with hard customers. I'm going to be actually teaching the how to handle haters when you have hard customers to deal with and demanding people. It's a tough journey, right? So don't stress over what you haven't achieved yet. What I want you to do is let go of that for now and look at what you want to achieve now. Dream afresh from where you are with a lot of realism behind this. But remember, when you're sitting with someone you love in 2.5 months and you're genuinely celebrating what would make you feel successful, be realistic about what's reasonable, right? Let's say that you're way, way, way off track. And the only thing that would make you feel successful is if you regained everything that you didn't gain so far. Well, unless that's standard in your business, and unless your business really is, makes the bulk of its revenue during the holiday season, and you've planned for that, then that's highly unlikely, right? Work with what's likely, and just give yourself the freedom to say what would make you feel proud, what would make you feel happy. It's a really super simple exercise, and I can tell you that the simplicity of this exercise doesn't necessarily mean that it's always going to be easy, because you have to kind of let go and you have to let yourself dream from where you are today. And I can tell you for sure that I've done this with hundreds, thousands of people actually at this point, and it always reveals like what's that inner desire, right? In business, we so often talk about, the logic and the planning and the numbers and all the things that have to do with the head. And in this moment, I want you to get in touch with what's in your heart, right? We're real human beings. It's not uncool to talk about what do we feel, right? What do you want? Your desires are centered in an emotional response. You're the owner. You're the leader of your business. If you don't pay attention to what you want, how are you ever going to get it, right? It's okay to want what you want. So if you do this exercise, you will walk away with something that might surprise you. What is it that you said? Was it something about your business, or maybe your family was more important at this stage? You're allowed to want what you want, but then that's not it, right? I want you, if you've written 5 or 7 or 12 things down, I want you to look at that paper or look at those things that you've written. And I want you to really ask yourself, what are the really important ones? What is the thing or the 1 or 2 things? Remember, you've got 2.5 months. We're going to talk about mastering the art of focus next, right? What are the things that are actually going to move the needle for you? What are the things that are actually going to help you get there? And when you rewrite these, I call them goals, these new refreshed goals for this end of the year momentum, don't write it as if we will achieve X amount of sales or I will have a team. Write it as though you've already accomplished it. I have a team of 3 amazing salespeople. I have a team of 5 customer service agents, or whatever is appropriate to your business. Say the goals, write the goals as if you're celebrating them and you've already done it. So we have achieved, or we are, right? Write them in the present tense. They become so much more compelling because our subconscious mind doesn't understand the concept of time. So if we say, I will have, that's always a future statement. If you say, I am, or I did, your subconscious mind is crazy powerful, right? Think about how many just functions of your body happen without you even having to think about it, right? That's just a tiny slice of the power of your subconscious mind, right? Your mind can help you get there, even when there are roadblocks in the way, right? So say what you have, what you are, write them in the present tense, and these toasting things, these little goals, I'm going to call them, are going to become so powerful, so compelling, so magnetic that you won't help yourself but be able to achieve it. Next, you want to take what you've written down and build out a roadmap. No one ever got to their destination without a really good roadmap. Now, we all get really lazy, I'll admit, with our GPSs. I certainly used to print out all of my instructions. I used to look at maps. I used to game plan things out when I had to go from point A to point B, because I really don't have a homing pigeon. I don't have one of those. I can't tell where I am unless I've been there many times. So with GPS, you can just plug in where you're going. You don't have to really think about where you're starting. But in this case, I really want you to consider where you're starting right now and where you're going. And instead of taking the squirrely path of whatever's next, I want you to practice discipline so that you can make really good choices. Part of the art of being a great leader, a great manager, a powerful owner of a business is learning what to say no to. So often it's not that we don't say yes enough, it's that we say yes too much. And that pulls us over here. And then we get the next shiny object. Oh, and the next big thing I should be doing. And we forget that there is a goal in mind that we have to be hyper focused on in order to achieve. And you want to plot out, look at where you are today. Look at what you've written on your paper as that celebration toast, that 1 or 2 things you absolutely want, would feel powerful to achieve. And then you ask yourself, what is a yes to help me get a stair step, right? Start from where you're ending, then backwards engineer the path to get to where you're going, to where you're starting, right? And then start making those steps, right? The steps feel, when we talk about it that way, oh, so easy, but there really is an art of focus. Focus is one of those small but mighty techniques that I have used throughout my career to move me from success to success as a corporate. And I worked for 5 years in corporate. I actually started as a field sales manager, and I moved up in 18 months. I was the youngest member of the executive leadership team of the North American branch of a $1 billion company, right? And I also became one of the most quickly promoted people in all of their North American history. And by the time I was leaving there, I was part of the executive leadership team at the top level. It was a pretty cool journey, but I didn't get there by just saying yes to everything. I didn't get there by having 25 goals. I got there by having one compelling thing that I was doing, right? That I would say yes to, and I would measure other decisions according to that. So I'm going to stop my share here because I want to tell you something. Think about, has anyone put in the chat, yes, if this is you, when you were a kid, did you ever do that science experiment with a a magnifying glass. I should have one. I've had one and then I put it away. I tidied up. I forgot that I needed it this morning, with a magnifying glass and a piece of paper. Did anyone ever do that experiment when you were in grade school, right? You got to reach way back into your memory banks for that grade school moment. So if you haven't done it, you can look it up on YouTube later. But having a magnifying glass and a piece of paper, right? The idea is we're going to use the power of the sun to burn a hole in the paper, right? And you don't just rush out into this beautiful Arizona sunlight and start waving the paper and the magnifying glass around. That's not how you burn a hole, right? You hold that paper at a very specific angle. That's your goal, right? That's your goal. And then you hold the magnifying glass so that you catch the sun. And what you need to do is you need to hold your hands so steady. You can't be shaky. You can't be wondering. You can't be losing faith and moving the magnifying glass away. You have to hold your hands super steady until that beam of light is focused for enough time on that one spot and it burns a hole. That tiny science experiment is exactly what we need to do in our businesses. We need to be so belief driven about our goals, so 100% committed that we don't throw away the magnifying glass when it's not working, right? We hold it steady. And when all these distractions come in, when this other new advertising thing and this other new thing and this new thing and that new thing, that we just say, you know what, that's a not right now. I'll get to that later. I have important work at hand. That doesn't mean that you bury your head in the sand and you don't ever do something new and fresh and innovative and different. But what that does mean is you have to truly know what is an absolute yes that gets you to the goals that you have in mind, and what is a maybe. Because anything that is not an absolute yes, actually, you should view as a no. Because when we try to do a lot of things at one time, we're actually pulling focus away from the important things. You only have so much energy to give, right? You only have so many hours in every day. Even if you are stealing hours from yourself by, waking up really, really super early, although waking up early, maybe that's not stealing hours, but staying up super late, burning the candle at both ends. If you're trying to find more time, time is your one non-renewable resource in your life. The one thing that you have that once you use it, you don't get it back, right? You use your money. Okay, great. You can make more, right? You cannot make more time. You can only utilize the time that you have with better focus and better intentionality. Because what we absolutely do not want to happen is for you to be standing at a crossroads, right, with a big, huge question mark and not knowing which way to go. Because then you have to spend a lot of energy making decisions all of the time. And there's a real thing among business owners and all people called decision fatigue. It means when you constantly have to make a new choice and make a new choice and make a new choice, your willpower actually gets whittled down. So you actually make less and less and less good decisions, the more decisions you have to make. Whenever you're focused, absolutely master the art of focus on the goal that you have in mind for the end of the year, and you're going to go get it. It's easy to say no to things if it doesn't align with your goal. And that's the discipline. Because you have to use that goal, that toast that you've written, that celebration you're looking forward to having to support your day-to-day decision-making. If it's not an absolute yes, it contributes to this goal, yes, it's going to help us get there, then it means it's a not right now. A lot of us don't want to say no because we feel like we're losing something, we're missing an opportunity. So instead of saying no, notice the language I've been using, not right now, right? It doesn't mean it's a no forever. Because if you change out the goal at the top of your paper, you're going to say yes to different things, right? If your goal is to hire X number of people, or to have a team made of this many people, or to hit this number in sales revenue, or to have these certain processes set up in your back office, that's going to lead to different yeses, isn't it? Every one of those goals have different component parts that you would say yes to, right? So in order to be really good at focus, we have to also do one thing. It's very countercultural for us, which is to unlearn the myth of multitasking. Who here up until today would have said that multitasking is a good thing? If you would have said multitasking is a good thing up until this moment, I want you to put me or yes, or I would in our chat, because here's the truth. We have been conditioned from a very young age in our culture here in the United States to say yes to doing a lot of different things at once, right? That multitasking is like the queen of all of the skills. That so many people thought that multitasking is really the way to higher efficiency. Has anyone believed this before? I'll boldly say I do. I used to. I absolutely used to believe that if I wasn't a good multitasker, then I was somehow falling short. How could I not be good at multitasking? How could I look down on multitasking? The truth of the matter is that multitasking disrupts your focus. When you have to jump from strategy questions, like how are we going to get there, figuring out where you want to go, these bigger picture, I would call them top leadership decision-making things, to, oh my gosh, where are we going to get more toilet paper? Oh my gosh, what are we going to do about this angry customer? Or oh, what are we going to do about this sales problem? Or what are we going to do? If you have to consistently jump around all the time into different functions of your brain, you are actually having a little bit of an energy leak. Because every time you get interrupted from something that you're taking your focus on, it's not just the few minutes of that interruption and then the few minutes of getting back into your task. Every interruption, studies have shown, steal 10 minutes of your productivity, no matter the duration of the interruption. Even if it's a 2-second interruption, overall, cumulatively, they steal 10 minutes from your productivity. So it's really important for us as owners, as business leaders and owners, to recognize that multitasking is perfectly appropriate when you're doing tasks. Little check-offable things. You're going to do this. You're working on this email, you're managing this phone call, you're talking, you got these little tasky items. There is no such thing as multi-goaling. That is not a thing. We treat it like it's a thing, and we treat multitasking, the benefit of it, in little tasky-driven items. We want to apply the same benefit to goals and to big picture things. It doesn't match one for one. It just doesn't. Okay, so look at it this way. You always have new ideas, new opportunities, right? People are going to present you with this cool new thing, or this great marketing tactic, or this new training you can take, or this all these multitude of things that you can do. And I had these cartoons made because I couldn't come up with any good visual for it. So this is like a little snowball guy. I had these made when I lived in Michigan. Okay, so snowballs felt like the right moment. Maybe we should have done, I don't know, but we're going to use snowballs. Hopefully it's relatable for all of us now Arizonans. So when you have all these different snowballs, what most people do is this. They make a big pile, and then they say, okay, I'm going to do this, 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 and this. And they start furiously running from their pile to the start line, and they push it, and then they run back to the start, and they start another one, and then they run back to the first one, and then they go back to the pile, and they start a third one, and then they go back to the first one, and then, oh my gosh, what do you guys see in this picture? Put in the chat, what do you notice going on in this picture with our little snowball dude, our little androgynous dude here? What do you notice? What do you see? I promise you, you cannot get it wrong, right? So pop into the chat what you see in this. Ryan says, running all over the place. That's right. You're running everywhere. You're here, you're there, you're everywhere. What else do you notice? What else do you see in this that's true, feels true to life? Every single time I show this to most of my clients, almost every client I show this to quite early on in our coaching. So I'm a business coach, and I work with small business owners to help them do exactly what I'm teaching you here all day, every day. And when I show this picture, everyone laughs. Everyone laughs. Like, but it's that nervous little chuckle, like, ha, 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 because they see themselves in this picture. Do you see yourselves in this picture? I see myself at a different stage of my life in this picture. I no longer behave this way. Sometimes I'm tempted, but I try my best not to, because yeah, Susan said, lots of energy expended, little result, right? He's hot. He's sweaty. Those little drips could be tears. He's sad. He's frustrated. He has worked and worked and worked and poured energy in, and not one single goal is met. How frustrating. How frustrating. What this picture tells us is I don't reach the goals I set. What this picture tells us is I'm not successful. What this picture tells us is I'm not doing it. I can't do it. I'm working so hard, but I'm not getting to where I want to go. Does that feel reasonable to you? Right? Does that feel like that's true to you? Right? That's true. Been true for me, been true for tons of my clients. I've worked with thousands of people, right? It is true that so many people feel this way. That is so unfair to most business owners. I'm just going to say it's unfair. I know fairness is not the right measure, but it is. You're being unfair to yourself. You are probably bold. You are ambitious. You are willing to take risks. You are willing to work hard. And you deserve to have a little bit of this in your life. You deserve to be able to give your goals extreme focus and to achieve what you want. This path, it's hard. I'm going to tell you why. Let's look back at our other one. When you're used to running your life, and by the way, your business this way, you're used to taking lots of action, lots of action, lots of action. And when you go to running your business this way, you have to learn how to slow down a little, which feels super scary for us high action oriented entrepreneurs. Feels scary. I am telling you that when you go slow, you can go fast, because the slow part doesn't last forever. It just lasts until you're making that momentum. You know, Ryan said that the snowball is getting bigger and the goal is harder to obtain. Yes, in a way, but imagine how many pushes you have to give that little tiny snowball for it to gain in diameter. But how few pushes you have to give to the big snowball for it to gain in diameter. It's a momentum game. When you get the ball rolling, you might be able to take that ball and carry it right over to the next goal line, or maybe use some team members to help you carry it right over to you don't have to start again. You can change where you start, because if you are focused, you can get almost anywhere so much faster. People think that they have to have a big expanse of time in order to set aside 3 hours to do this thing. Instead of setting aside 15 minutes and 15 minutes and 15 minutes. I have watched businesses struggle because the owner doesn't know how to set aside a half a day to do a big important project, where if they just gave themselves 15, 20, 30 minutes of quiet, focused time over a period of time, if you do that for an entire week, 30 minutes a day, you will have almost given yourself those full 3 hours. So many of us don't have 3 hours to give, but we could find 15 minutes or 30 minutes of intense quiet time where we can do things. So this is one of those sneaky success secrets that really changes the game. It's easy to visualize, but it takes discipline. That's why I say it's hard. It takes discipline to say no to all of the superfluous activity. And the fewer people are on your team, the fewer goals you should be setting, but more impactful goals. The more people you have on your team, the more people you have that you can help, that can help you get those goals, that you can delegate achievement to, the more wide range of goals you can have, because you can make someone else the owner of that goal. It doesn't have to be all on your shoulders, right? It is a really powerful, powerful thing. So those are the first, several things to help you get this year coming up really, really powerful to the end, like keeping that momentum. But there's 2 other things. This is my 5th one, but I'm going to add a little bonus number, kind of 6, we'll call it a bonus, is rock your marketing game. Do not forget that in order for people to be in your sales funnel, to know that you exist, to want to buy from you, you have to get your marketing really tight, right? You have to communicate. You have to tell your ideal client how your offer solves their problems, meets their needs, serves them. And the one phrase in there I want you to zero in on is your ideal client. I've worked with hundreds of business owners who could not tell me who is your perfect ideal client for this. They give me a broad generalization. All right, anyone from 25 to 55. Okay, nope, too broad. A 25-year-old is thinking about vastly different things than a 50-year-old, right? You need to get hyper specific about who your ideal client is. And the way that you can get specific about that is think about the last 5 people who were delighted with what you did, and you were delighted to serve them, that it was easy and smooth. That's the sign that you're working with an ideal client. Ideal clients don't make your life hell. Ideal clients don't complain and complain and complain, right? Once in a while, okay, people today with all the lingering effects of COVID and the risks and the fear, people are a little bit more stressed. People are more difficult to deal with just in general today than they were, a couple of years ago. So maybe there's a little bit more of that complaint factor peppered in. But your ideal client is someone your company is specifically suited to serve almost perfectly, almost every time. And when you do that, when you get really clear about who it is, not just the demographics, but what kind of background do they have? What kind of person are they? What are their passions? What do they care about? Let me tell you a quick little story. I'm going to stop my share here, tell you a quick little story. I worked with a company who does beautiful installations of, there's sun protection, but also wind protection. They do these beautiful installations of, you can see it over at City Square, just up here on Central, of these artistically created sun and elements protection sort of awnings. But they're tensioned awnings that look like sails. They're beautiful, absolutely beautiful, works of art, gorgeous. And they've been doing this for quite a long time, right? This is a very well-established firm. And they had an ideal client that was a little bit all over the place. And we spent a couple of, probably month and a half, 2 months, focusing on who exactly their ideal client is. There's someone who loves architecture, someone who loves art, someone who values walking into a space and feeling a sense of like the space itself speaks to them. Someone who has a creative piece of themselves, someone who's very highly educated, and generally probably someone who's on the wealthier side, right? Who's top upper middle, if not, very, very top of the income earners. Someone who may even have generational wealth. And they built this avatar, and they've been making decisions about how they're going to do their marketing and how they're going to build out their training programs and how they're going to reach architects and all these different elements that appeal to this ideal client. And they didn't even work terribly hard on their marketing to change it yet, right? That's coming up later this year, or maybe probably into next year. They're going to be redoing their website. But they made some slight adjustments to how they show up on social media. And they made some slight adjustments to how they talk to people when those incoming leads come in. And they made some slight adjustments to that form that people fill out when they have interest in a project. Let me tell you, 2 months later, with absolutely no other effort on their side, no solicitation, nothing, this amazing, perfect, ideal client who literally checked every single box. She sits on the board of an art museum, right? You can't make this stuff up. Showed up in their business and had them do a huge event, several $100,000 installation for an event, a private event that she hosted for her birthday celebration, right? This is what happens in our businesses. It's not something you can force. It's not something you can make happen. But when you get super laser focused on who your business is ideally designed to serve, and you speak to that person and you make decisions towards that person, they're an avatar, they're not a real human, right? They're a compilation. Then your business is like blowing a dog whistle. Humans do nothing when we blow a dog whistle. We don't hear it. But it's calibrated so that a dog's ears perk up and they listen and they take action, right? And we can be like that when we're really good and intensely focused on our marketing messaging. So that our communication lands. It doesn't mean that it alienates those who don't fit that profile. It just means that it speaks so clearly to that person that it cuts through all the noise. Our market, our world is very, very noisy. In order for an ideal client to see us, to hear us, we have to be speaking right to them. We have to be talking about things that they care about the most. We have to be really good about how we communicate. And if we do that, those are the factors that help you end your year strong, that help you pull that last little bit out. There is still more coming here this year. There is still money to be made. There are still goals to be achieved, and you can do it if you do these things. And if you add this one last little element, which I'm kind of tossing in as a bonus, of making sure that you don't stop selling. Don't push your foot off the gas. Don't wait till next year. get on the phone, call those potential clients, call people you've quoted and never sold. Make sure that if you have a store-based business, depends on where your clients come from, make sure that you don't forget to make offers to them, right? Marketing's job is to get the attention of that ideal client, and sales jobs is to turn that attention into dollars, right? It's not predatory to make an offer to someone who's in need of your services. That's doing them a great service. That's not doing them an injustice. If they have a problem that you can solve for them, yes, you should be tenacious about earning their business. Because if you stop selling, you lose that momentum, right? Sales is that lifeblood of your business. You always got to have it coming in. You have to have those revenue dollars pouring in. And you're not doing anything wrong by making sure that your engines of your business are designed to help you sell. You have to make sure that you're converting the leads that you're getting into dollars, right? You have to make sure that you're paying attention to those core important elements, right? You have to look at things like, are you having I missed a little punctuation there. Sorry about that. Are you having that sales momentum from day one of the month through to the end of every month, right? When you're not quite there on your sales goals, don't let that be something that turns into something that you're beating yourself up with. Turn that into something that makes you curious. How can I find more sales dollars? What can I do to convert these leads? How can I leverage these things? It's really beneficial to use your sales goals, those monthly, quarterly, annual goals, as a way to get curious about where that money is hiding. Because there's money hiding in plain sight in your business for sure, as long as you take the time and the effort of looking to find it. So with those things well in mind, you can absolutely be prepared for an amazing end to your year. And if you take the time and effort and energy, start with the end in mind, think about what it is that you truly want to be celebrating here at the end of 2021. And you take those few things, you have discipline, it's not 10, it's not 20, it's 1, maybe 2. And you build out your roadmap, you backwards engineer your plan, and you think about what's the step I can take today that's going to get me just a little bit closer, just a little bit closer, just a little bit closer. And you really, really master the art of focus and unlearn that myth of multitasking, where you really do those 2 steps, and then you rock your marketing game and you keep that sales pump running. You will be able to leverage your momentum all the way through to the end of the year. And of course, momentum just doesn't stop when the year rolls over, right? Once you learn how to master all these things, that's a gift that keeps on giving, right? And it doesn't have to be you running at full tilt forever and ever and ever and never taking a break. It's about learning how to pour that intense focus on when you need it to help accelerate yourself right to the end of the year and beyond. So with those couple of things in mind, I just wanted to pause a few moments and take your questions. You can pop them into the Q&A box. And also there's not there's not a ton of things happening in the chat. So if that's easier for you, I can take your questions there. But I just want to pause and ask, what questions do you have? Are there any specific things that you hoped to walk away with today that we didn't touch, or something that you hope that I could take a little bit further for you? I'm here in person with you, so I can most definitely answer those pointed questions. And if no questions are coming in, Robert, just want to pass the microphone back to you and see if there's anything that you would like me to take a little further or to answer for you.
No, I think we're sitting great. I know you mentioned you have a hard stop coming up soon, and have somewhere you have to be at 10. So if you have any questions, please drop them in. I do want to mention, as Madeleine mentioned, one of those marketing pieces, a key thing is you're looking at your roadmap for the next 2.5 months. We have a great marketing session on Tuesday. Please come and join us for that. But yeah, great information, Madeleine. Well put together. We really appreciate it. I hope everybody was able to gain some insight to help finish up the year and finish strong, and make any adjustments you need to make to get to the end of the year the way you want to get there. So thank you very much for your time. Great presentation. We look forward to your next presentation. We have that coming up on November 2nd. So if you enjoyed Madeleine's comments today, join us on the November 2nd boot camp. And you'll get to hear her again with a wholly different topic. But we're excited about that topic as well. So with that, I want to appreciate everybody for joining us today and participating. And we hope to see you on Tuesday for our marketing session that we've got coming up. But until then, everybody have a great day. Have a great weekend. And we will see you on Tuesday morning. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Bye. See you November 2nd.
Bye. Thank you, Madeline.